So next we're going to do a chapter on statistics and probability. But before we dive too much into the math of it, we're going to do a lot of definitions here in this first section. So first, we're going to talk about populations and samples. Let's say I wanted to host a barbecue, but I can only afford to buy hamburgers or hot dogs. My supplier will give me a really great deal, but I can only buy one or the other. So I need to find out, do the students at Meade High School prefer hamburgers or hot dogs? My population is going to be all of the members in the group of interest. In this case, it would be all of the students at Meade High School. Now, my sample is going to be a smaller group from the population. It's not always possible to interview every single person in your population. Now, could I do it at Meade High School? Yeah, probably. But let's say I was doing it on a larger scale and I wanted to do everybody in Meade, Kansas, or everybody in Kansas. It's not going to be possible for me to interview everybody, so I'm going to take a sample of people and I'll base my data off of how those people answer. So first as far as samples go, there are 5 main types of samples. First is going to be a simple random sample, and I just noticed my notes are messed up, so hang on. Okay, sorry about that. So the first type of sample is a simple random sample. And this is where everyone has a fair chance to be someone that I ask. So in a case like this, I might print off the entire roster of Meade High School and put everybody's name in a hat and draw 20 names. So it's simple random sample. Another type is going to be a systematic sample. In this case, I might have everybody standing in a line going through the grab and go line, let's say. And I go through and I ask every third or fourth person which one they prefer. So I have a system to it. 1, 2, 3, hey, which one do you like? 1, 2, 3, hey, which one do you like? It has a system to it. Another type is going to be self-selected, okay? Because the people who answer are going to volunteer or self-select to answer the survey. Here I might set up a booth in the Court of the Commons during grab and go, and anybody who comes up can answer the question, and that's whose data I'll use. The next one is going to be, there we go, a convenience sample. So let's think back when maybe we were in class together. Before I start lecture, I might have just simply said, oh, hey, by the way, guys, I'm just curious. How many of you prefer hot dogs or hamburgers? Hot dogs, raise your hand. Okay, hamburgers, raise your hand. All right, great, thanks. That would have been a convenience sample because it was convenient. You guys were right there. It was easy to get that data without doing a whole lot of hunting down of people. And then last but not least is going to be stratified. Here the population is going to be divided into non-overlapping groups, where the whatever is inside is going to be, inside the group is going to be similar to each other. And then members are randomly selected from each of those groups. So you can kind of see the pattern that they have there. Freshmen, sophomores, juniors, seniors. I pull 5 names for freshmen, 5 names for sophomores, juniors, and seniors. There's my 20 people. It's important to note on that one that they do have to be non-overlapping groups. So the classes work well because you're either a junior or a senior. You're not a weird mix of the two. It would not work for me to try to divide the school into like football players, basketball players, and forensic students because there's some overlap there. There's someone who does all 3 of those. So that would not work. So next we're going to do a couple examples. Animals in a zoo are divided by species. Then 2 animals are selected at random from each group to have their blood tested. So the population is going to be all of the animals in the zoo. And the sample is going to be only the ones that were tested. Well, which ones are tested? 2 animals from each species. So the population, all the animals in the zoo, sample 2 from each species. Okay, so what type of sample was this? Notice that they are divided by species, so this and then selected, so this would be a stratified sample. Next is going to be A popular diner, the manager checks the quality of burgers every 20 minutes, starting at a randomly selected time. So the population, well, what are we checking? Burgers. The population is all burgers. The sample is going to be the burgers checked every 20 minutes. The sample is the ones that you check, or the people that you talk to. So this time the sample is burgers every 20 minutes. Because there does appear to be a system to it, every 20 minutes he's checking the burgers, this one would be systematic. Okay, so next up, having a bias. In math and studies and samples and things, having a bias means that the way that you've set this up, your questions, your sample groups, whatever it is going to give you skewed data. The people are going to be predispositioned to give you a certain answer. So for example, A, every fifth person coming into a grocery store is asked to name their favorite radio station. Well, think about who goes to the radio station, or I'm sorry, who goes to the grocery store? Everyone. Do people who listen to classical music go to the grocery store? Country music? Hip hop? Rap? Everybody goes to the grocery store because, well, most people anyway, that's how they buy their food. So that would be an unbiased sample because it's a wide variety of people that you're going to talk to. Whereas, check out B, every fifth person at the country music showcase is asked to name their favorite radio station. It's more likely that someone attending the country music showcase is probably going to answer a country radio station. Not 100% guaranteed, but someone who listens to a lot of hardcore rap might not, or in screamo music, they might not be as typical to show up at a country music showcase. So you're not going to see that group of people represented. Okay, let's try a couple more here. A journalist surveys 15 student members of the Young Republicans to determine the overall political opinions of the student body. What do you think? That one is biased because they interviewed the Young Republicans to get the overall political opinions of the student body. Pretty sure that his answers are going to be skewed Republican. What do you think? How about a shoe store conducting a study of which shoes are most popular? The store surveys every third girl and boy that enters the store. We're going to assume that this is a store that sells a lot of different shoes. So it would be unbiased. Now that said, someone like me, that might be harder for me. You probably wouldn't run into me necessarily going into the shoe store because my favorite shoes are Ariats. So there you go. Not very many typical shoe stores are selling boots. So okay, I know this video is a little bit longer. I'm going to pause here and you guys will have an assignment. It's on Google Forms this time instead of Delta Math. Delta Math didn't have an assignment for this. And we'll finish this section tomorrow.